Welcome all once more to the class. And the objective of the class today is to take us through the Okta interface for us to know how to create an account and then how to manage user in the system. It's going to be a very short one, just to kind of let us know how we do practical aspects of user creation within the Okta. So we will start the process by first of all understanding the process of creating a Yelp Mail account, which is a disposable account that we can use for all our activities within the Okta system. So I will open a new browser, and then it's just by typing the yelpmail.com. So once I'm on the Yelp Mail interface, it's a very simple thing. You don't need to hide anything, or maybe put in your username or last name, first name, or number. It doesn't require anything. This is just um, on the fly email creation. Sometimes the email that you create from here might probably be created by someone else, then it's going to show you. But sometimes it might be a new email completely that you are creating. It's on the fly email. So you don't need anything to get it created. You just have to type the name right there and automatically you get an email. So like I said earlier, we have a format for us to create our user within the Okta system, which is going to be in this form. CWM test USR, and then followed by the number that we choose. I'm going to choose 300, so which I believe no one is going to pick that number. So once I do that, I click on it. There you go. So I have the Yelp account, just like that. So my Yelp account right now is going to be what I will use as my username within the Okta because it's going to be unique. And the belief in an organization is that no two individuals is going to have the same email account. And that is very guaranteed that it's going to be unique within an organization. That is why most organizations prefer to use the email account as the username when they are creating an account for their user in the application. So we have to kind of note that and keep that at the back of our mind. In most cases, in an organization, username is mostly related to the email account given to the user within the organization. The next thing is I'm going to go into my Okta environment. They call it Okta tenant. And I believe it's all because it's a kind of a cloud-based service. So, and most of the cloud-based service, they always refer to them as tenant or tenancy. So that's one of the terms that they make use of when they are referring to a particular site or a particular environment assigned to an individual within the cloud. One thing I want every one of us to note is that we can see that while I'm trying to log in right here, most cases, Okta tenant has two main pages. One is for the admin, the other is for the end user. The end user will never be able to see the admin page unless you're an administrator. And because we are being assigned as an administrator within the Okta, the first page that will come up to us is going to be an admin. But when it comes to the end users, they will only see the end user platform, and they will be able to see all their assigned applications in ties. So that is the end user page. Then the admin section is where you are going to see the administrative functions that you can perform in Okta. That's where you do the account creation, you do the application integrations, and you do the um, other integrations that you perform within the Okta. So that is the admin section. So if I log in right now, by default, and it should take me down to the admin screen. But if you look at here right now, you can see the URL that we have here says dev the numbers assigned to me by the Okta.com. So by the time I log in, then you are going to see it kind of a different in the URL that will come. So can we all look at the URL right now and then see what a different that we have there? So if you look at the dev Okta, what follows it is what you have here, the admin. So it's telling me that I'm on the admin screen. So it comes up by default because I'm an administrator. If I'm not an administrator, I won't be seeing this screen at all. I'll be seeing a totally different screen. So we need to be aware of that as an Okta administrator. So within this screen right now, this is where everything is done as far as the administration of the Okta system is concerned. You don't do any other things in any other place than this system when it comes to Okta, uh, um, Okta features and Okta functions. This is where you do everything that you do. The other area that we might probably think about, okay, we're doing an integration, when you're doing an application integration, is actually on the application side, like probably Salesforce, Microsoft, um, Microsoft softwares, or maybe probably Google. So you have to kind of perform integration as well too on that hand, and then you do the integration as well too on Okta side. But apart from that, whatever that you need to do as far as the Okta is concerned, talking about the admin level, is going to be done within this screen. So then the other screen which I was talking about is the end user screen. Um, I am in an admin section right here. You cannot see any information about myself. You can even see what I'm assigned to. But when I come right here, then I click on my settings. Oh no. Um, when I click right there, I click on my end user dashboard. So once I click on end user dashboard, it's going to take me to that screen. So we can actually see right here that there is nothing like an admin at this point, because the point is when we start working in an environment, they're probably going to give us two different environment as far as Okta is concerned. Because the one that we do most of our activities, initial integrations that we use for the lower environments when we are doing an application that we use for lower environment. Mostly they call that tenant given by Okta to be Okta Preview. So they call it Okta Preview tenant, Preview, Okta Preview. Then the second environment that is going to give in to us is going to be the production Okta. So the production Okta is where we actually have the deployment of all the works that we've done within the Okta preview, and we have the production Okta. So this is an important information that we need to keep at the back of our mind as well too when it comes to the Okta platform. In from my experience, we only have Okta Dev, which is the preview only. That is the only tenant that is going to provide it to you. And that tenant is going to be used for all the different environments that we are developing in. If we are familiar with application development, we know that we have different environments for each application stages. We have the development environment, we have the test environment, we have the um, production, which is an environment as well, which is the final environment. Then we have the quality control environment as well too, and some other environments that, I mean, depending on what the organization, how the organization set up their the application development process. So for all this environment that we are talking about, we can actually make use of a single Okta tenant to control the access control to kind of for the integration of all the applications within each of this environment. Again, let me say this again, because when we get to your workforce, we were on a site. If you are a developer, Okta administrator, and then there's a new project that needs to be worked on, you will actually be working with different application environments. However, you will only be working mostly mostly you'll only be working with just a single Okta dev environment, which is going to be a preview environment. So when we now talk about these application environments, like I said, we have the primary one. They might probably say pre-dev. Pre-dev is something that many people make use of just for to kind of test something, test some new features, or look at how things is going to be. So that is a preview environment, a pre-dev environment. Then we now have development environment. That one is one of the key area that development actually take place. We have development environment. Then the next level will now be a test environment, TSC environment. We normally call it TSC environment, test system. That is a TSC environment. So that is we have that one. Then there's another environment called integration environment. So we have that one too. By the way, we have the integration before the test. So we have the integration environment and we have the test environment, testing it. Then also after the testing environment, we have the QA environment. That is the quality assurance environment. So we have that one as well. So and then after that one, that is when we still have some other environments as well too in between, but the end product is going to be the production environment. So all we the QA environment and dev environment, test user environment, integration environments, in most cases we call all those environment within the application development, we call them.
Yeah, I think class. Sorry, Baba.
Yeah, we call all this environment lower environments. The terms that we use for them, we call them lower environments. Why singularly we call the production environment to be the production environment? That is where we actually have all the deploy of the application that we've been developing after testing, after doing quality control, after passing certification. Yeah, we have a certain environment as well too. After passing the certain environment, then we now have the production environment. So all these lower environments, they are mostly under Okta preview. So that is the Okta preview tenant. While the production Okta is always assigned to the production environment. So I just want to kind of make mention of that for us that if we are on a project, so that we now understand different kind of environments when we are doing the work. So like I said, the environments which I am right here. Now, this is an end user environment. This is what is going to be provided to the end users, the users that are going to use the application. So within the admin section of the environment, the application is going to be assigned to the user. And then once that application is assigned, then it's going to appear on the end user dashboard right here. So it's going to be in the form of a tile, as we are seeing right here. So this is an application assigned to me on the admin section, and it's a Salesforce application. So here it is right here. And then we talk about as an end user that does not have access to the admin section, what they can do right here, they can change their information, they can view the assigned application to them, and then they can modify their profile. One key things about here is that once they change their profile here, as in their username or last name, as we did yesterday, it's going to trigger a process that is going to reflect in all their assigned applications. For instance, I'm assigning Salesforce right here, and then if I open up a Salesforce, because my username and everything is being pulled, my last name and first name is being pulled from Okta, so it is going to be the same thing I have on the Okta side that is going to be reflect on the Salesforce side. So once I make a change of my profile within the Okta right here, the same thing is going to synchronize in the application assigned to me in the Salesforce. So likewise, if I'm assigned to multiple applications like 10,000, maybe 20 applications, maybe 50 applications, once I change my profile here, so far those applications are integrated with Okta. That is, Okta is a total source of information. So far they are integrated with Okta. Once I change my profile right here, it's going to reflect in all those environment, in all those applications. Automatically, it will sync. So that is why one of the benefits of using the Okta that we first of all discussed in the first class, that why do we use Okta? We give the power to the end users to make a change of that information, which is make it a lot easier which will make it a lot easier for the administrator instead of them going into each one of these applications and start changing this end user's information. They don't have to do that. The end user can themselves come into the Okta, their end user Okta dashboard, and then make a change of their profile. Maybe they just got married and then you want to change your last name to your husband last name. Then they will have to change it right here. They change the middle name to the husband name. So it's so easy and very convenient for for the end user to make that change. So that is one of the importance of using a centralized system like this that is called an Okta. So so I just want to kind of show us this the end user dashboard where we can see the application uh, highlighted to the end user. So now I go back to the admin section.
Sir,
Uh,
excuse me.
yes.
I'm not seeing yours. The only thing I'm seeing is Okta, my apps. I'm not seeing any other thing. I don't know what else you're sharing. I'm not seeing anything. I'm only seeing Okta, my apps, work, and data.
Do you see my hub, right? Can you see
Yes.
my can you see me clicking on something right now?
Notifications. Yes.
Yeah, that is all what everybody is seeing at this point in time.
Okay.
So if we want to kind of look at the profile section, so we just kind of so that is it. So this is the profile section. I think we talked about this yesterday. We showed this yesterday. So I was about going moving on to the admin section. Um, so can you see the profile section right here?
Yes.
Okay. For the benefit of those that were not in the class yesterday, we talk about this how we can make a change to our first name, last name, and then every person in the class made that change yesterday. So we can do the edit of the profile, just like I said earlier on, by coming down here, we change the last name if the last name change. Or for instance, if we want to change our first name, some people change their identity, and then if they want to make a change of the first name, they come right here and make a change of it. And the fact is that once you make a change right here, it's going to reflect in all the assigned application to that particular individual. So that is how the change that you make right here propagate to all other environments. So because like I said, there are two main pages to Okta environment. The end user, which is where most of the end user will only have access to. That is where they see their assigned applications. And then we have the admin page, which is where as an administrator, we perform all the integrations, all the activities related to Okta features. So I'm going to go back to my admin page right now. So one second. So here we are on the admin page. Before I move forward to do anything within the admin page, I just want to kind of make sure that there is something that makes you an admin within an Okta, and that is a role that is assigned to the person. And it is the only role that we have within the Okta. We don't create any other roles in Okta than the admin role. So there is nothing like we create an end user role or this or that. No. Uh, the other thing that we have within the Okta is a group. So the group is going to be used. to kind of um, to indicate application rules. Other than that, the only role within the Okta is the admin role. And then most importantly, we need to know where this role exists. If you come down to the security section, then we can see this particular um, link right here, the administrator. Then when we click on that, it's going to take us down to the admin role. So as an administrator, um, we have different admin roles within an Okta. We have the Okta is kind of less privilege principle, that kind of a principle that the Okta follows. It is what you need that is assigned to you. There is a way that you can restrict the administrator within an Okta. It's not like any other system that you create an administrator and automatically that person have all access to all the features of the application. There is a way that you can limit what an administrator can do within an Okta. And we have different kind of an administrator within Okta. We have API administrators, we have the application administrator, and we have the general administrator that have access to all roles within the system. If I click there are two roles that we can see right here. In most cases within an Okta, we have something that we call standard and custom. So standard is what Okta provided by default, and then the custom is those one that you created within the system within the Okta. So if I uncheck this right here, it's going to show me the only the custom role, the custom roles. So these are the roles which I created myself within this Okta platform. So and then you can see that we have the CWM user admin. This is the one that we're going to make use of within the Okta system. These are the projects which I've worked on. You can see EasySec API, EasyTest API. These are the roles that I created in some of the projects which I did earlier. So then if I click on the standard one, let's look at what we have within the standard. So within the standard, we can see the varieties of the roles that we have there. We have the API Access Management Administrator, Application Administrator, Group Administrator, Group Membership Administrator. These are kind of restricted access in a way. They limit what an individual can do when assigned with this set of the roles that we have here. It is self kind of explanatory. If you look at the report administrator, you will surely know that it is only the user that it is only the report that that user is going to have access to. If you look at the read-only administrator, read-only administrator is what we have right now. That implies that all the users are going to be able to see all the features that is within the Okta. But however, you won't be able to do anything. You cannot create, you cannot change, you cannot modify. But you can look at the information that you have, all the information that you have within the Okta. Then we have the super admin. That super admin is the one that have access to every single aspect of features within the Okta. So that is the admin role, because it is important for us to have an idea what kind of access we have in the system and how do we assign the access. So we're still going to talk about role assignment and then talk about the how we can create a new roles within the Okta. We will do that one later on. So just to kind of give you an idea of what administrators roles entails within Okta. So now we go back to what we really want to do today. That is account creation. Um, the we all can look at the basic features, the menus that we have on the navigator side of the Okta right here. Most of our activities will be done within the directory and the applications and then the security. So those are the three main sections I've been working with. Again, the directory, the applications, and then the security. The directory section is where we create groups, and then we create people, and then we create the users, and then we look at the profile uh, editor as well too. And then we also have directory integrations right here. This is where we integrate with other directory service systems like Azure AD, like LDAP. So that is where we handle the such integration. So, and then we have some other
Can you please repeat the second one, the integration one? The first one you said directory. With the
yeah.
directory, we create groups and users. And then what did you say after that?
I called the directory integrations. Can you see where I'm pointing to at right now?
Yes.
Okay. The directory integration is a section whereby we integrate other directory services like Azure AD, AZURE AD, and then the LDAP. So I think we talked about the LDAP, the first class that we did. So if I click, I don't have any integration right now within this environment, but it is where we perform all the integration. You can see we have the add active directory, add LDAP directory, and add LDAP interface. So this is where we do the directory integration. A quick explanation on what a directory is. A directory is a kind of a system where information about users within an organization is stored. If we talk about the user information, we are talking about the identity. What do we use to identify a user within an organization? So we are talking about their, first of all, the first name, last name, the username that they use to log in into their computer system or to the network, and then their password, the password policy. So the directory system is where we store all this information. There is no organization that doesn't have a directory server. So they do have it. And most especially what they make use of is the Microsoft AD, that is Microsoft Active Directory. So then we now have the popular one, which is very common within people that use the Linux and some other system outside of the Microsoft, and that is the LDAP directory. So this is in a way, by the way, the Microsoft AD is a kind of a subset of the LDAP directory as well with additional features. So the directory is where we actually store the information of the user. Okta has its own directory, which is also unique in a way. They call it Universal Directory. That is a directory that Okta store the user information in. So we should have, this is a very important thing that we need to know, take a point of the directory system. We have the AD directories, we have the organization directory. Then we now.
Sorry to cut you short. I had my hand up. I'm noticing that my own layout is not exactly as you are describing. Like I do not have, on the directory side, I only have three options, which is the people group and profile source. I do not have the directory integrator and self-service registration and the other ones. I only have three options.
Yeah, it's because what I've assigned to you guys at this point in time.
Okay,
okay. Because I wanted to add the same question also.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, because you both everybody right now they have read-only access, so that is why.
Okay.
Read-only access admin. That's what I assigned to everyone at this point in time.
Thank
so yeah, as I was saying, this is a directory. It is very important that we take note of this because when we get on the job, we will be doing many things that relate to the directory integration. Most especially, this is what we have to note. We will only work on the profile on the Okta Universal Directory. We don't normally deal with the Windows directory on the AD. Whenever that we have anything to do with that, we always reach out to the Windows admin So those are the ones that will have to kind of do their own activities within the AD, within the Windows Server AD. So what they do most, the request that we normally ask from them is perhaps if we want to kind of pull information about the password policy that they have, because we want to make sure that the password policy that they have within their AD server is the same thing that we have within the Okta as well too. And also, if there is a group to be created, if there's a name for us to create a group within the Okta, and then we want to sync that group from the admin's AD server, we will ask the AD administrator to create a group, and then they provide us with the group names that we're going to create within Okta as well too. Then also, if there is a case for us to integrate, do a kind of a integration between the AD server and then the Okta, there is a set of accounts that is going to be used for that integration. We will request from the AD server administrator to provide us, to create an account for us, and then provide us with the credentials of that account that we're going to use within the Okta for the integration. So our homework, what we have to do is all within the Okta. That is what I'm trying to kind of emphasize. We don't do anything with the Azure, but we make a request to the administrator to provide us some certain information that will actually make use of within the Okta. So before we move forward, is there any question so far on the discussion that we've been having?
Yeah, I just would like to ask if there are other email platforms that we can use apart from the Yokmail, or it's just the Yokmail email account that can be used for starters.
You can use any email account, but I think this, like I said yesterday, this is a disposable
Email,
account.
and that's just
Yeah.
the advantage that it has.
Yes, I mean, if you have to create an email, so if you are dealing with a task, okay, like now, I'm dealing with about 14 users right here, or probably 20. We have 20 users in the class right now. So then I'm going to need an account to be created for each one of them. So am I going to create a Yahoo account? Yahoo account will ask you for so many stuff, so many information.
Gotcha.
Thank you. So, but this is very good, and then we make use of it during the project section if you are doing a project. So it's so convenient for us to kind of make it up. So it's just for testing purpose. It's not for any personal stuff or any, we don't want to keep it. I mean, it's just for testing purpose. So, but if you want to use any form of email within the environment, but mind you, this is an open environment that we are offering right now within the Okta. So if you want to use any form of an email that you feel like you want to use, yes, you can go ahead and use it. So, but like I said, if it is something that is personal, you don't want to reveal it to the whole world. So that just my comment about that. Then if we'll come to an organization, within an organization, they have their own personal email. If you guys notice, my iLearning Infotech at Crescent Web Map. Crescent Web Map is my own organization, which a company which I created, and then I have a domain for it. And based on the domain that I created for it, so the domain name which I created for it, so I'm able to kind of generate an email for myself out of that. So if you look at the iLearning Infotech at Crescent Webman. So likewise, if you are within an organization, the organization is going to generate an email for each of their staff. So, and just like what I've said earlier on, the email is always unique. They would make sure that each individual within the organization does not have to the same email. They always make sure that it's always unique. So just to kind of add it to the question that you were asking about the email. So any other question? Okay, Ms. Alawa, please go ahead.
So my question has to do with the directory. My understanding right now with respect to Active Directory for domain controller is more like Microsoft is trying to move everybody to the cloud. There is what they call Azure AD, and expect whoever has Active Directory on-prem on domain controller to sync the Active Directory with the Azure AD using Azure Connect. So my question has to do, is the Okta directory, can it be synced with Azure using the same Azure Connect? Because they said for every other Active Directory or directory that you want to use, it is possible to sync such that the identity of the user on that directory will automatically be populated on the Azure. So I don't know if there is a synergy between Okta and Microsoft Azure.
Yes, there is. We in the earlier class that we talk about protocol. We say that a protocol is a standard of doing things that all the organization, all the industries within the IT, they agree upon to. And then the purpose of doing that is to have a seamless integration between all the applications that individual company develop. So the ADAP is the basis of all the directory. If we're talking about the Okta universal directory and the baseline of it, on that depend is kind of rests on the ADAP system, and then likewise the Azure is kind of like based on the ADAP as well too. So the AD that we are talking about, that is the Active Directory, is very, very similar to the ADAP system. So when we talk about the Azure Active Directory, it's similar to what Okta, the function of Okta is. We know that most of these organizations, they are trying to kind of control the market or limit other people, taking a share of the market from the provider. Okta is a company on its own that provides a directory service, cloud directory service as an integration. So before the Microsoft Azure come into place, there is Okta already in the market. So Microsoft is more or less trying to kind of maybe control the share of the markets of the cloud directories. That is why they set up the Azure. However, there is always an integration between Okta and then the Azure directory as well. So if you talk about the Connect, within the Okta, there is a way that you connect to the AD, and then at the same time there is a way that you're going to connect with the Azure. I confidently believe that there is a way that you can connect with the Azure. So there was going to be a seamless integration between the two of them. Because for instance, right now, you have it is not only the Okta that provides this kind of a service of the universal integration. We have the Google as well too. So there is an integration, there is a communication between Okta universal directory and then that of the Google. Everything that we are talking about still kind of boils down to the point of a single sign-on. More or less, every one of them are trying to kind of achieve a single sign-on for all the applications that they have. So because of that, the whole of the single sign-on relies on the directory, the information where they keep the information, and the whole of the single sign-on relies on the fact that all these companies, they have to ensure that all the applications that they have communicates with one another. Nobody wants to be an island. You want to be able to be integrated with all other software provider. So Microsoft, if the Microsoft is developing an Azure Azure AD, they definitely Microsoft will make sure that their product can be integrated with any other products in the market that perform the same function as they want to do. So does that answer your question? We in the earlier years of application development, system development, it's always proprietary. in the sense that companies develop an application so that they're going to be the only one that have the share of the market, and they don't want any other person to know what they are doing or to integrate with other systems. They are very, very proprietary in nature at the beginning of the software development. But along the line, when the people like Microsoft comes into play, when the people like Apple comes into play, when so many other companies are coming into play, then it becomes a requirement that we can't be an island. We have to integrate with one another. So, and then if you don't want to be, if you don't integrate with other, and you want to be an island, that is how companies start dying. Companies like IBM, they were at the forefront of computers, information technology, way back in the hardware section, in the software. They were the forefront back then in the 70s. But now, because they are very, very highly proprietary in nature, and they don't make their product to be open to all, then Microsoft came into play. Microsoft took the share, and some other companies come into play, like Apple. They started developing their own computer. They started developing their own desktop. So that from there, IBM lost the market. And then from there, we have all other new companies coming up. And these companies that are coming up, their main aim is to make sure that their product is highly integrated with any other products out there. So my belief is that Microsoft Azure will be integrated with so many other related AD services, AD systems out there. So that is that in a nutshell. There is an integration between Microsoft and then the Okta. So any other question, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Razaki, just to be clear, if there is a different application that needs to be integrated, we will just call the IT team to set it up. We don't really, I mean, are we the one that actually doing the integration of all those, like for example, Salesforce and stuff like that? Are we the one integrating Salesforce into this Okta page, or we'll just call the Salesforce people and they'll set up whatever they need to set up on the back end for us to be able to have access to every staff using Salesforce?
The expectation is that you have to have a knowledge of the integrations, which is something that we will be equipped with during the training. If you want to integrate, the integrations that we are talking about right now is into, we're talking about the application integrations and the directory integration. Directory integrations is completely different from application integration. Like just like we see right here, we have the add active directory, adapt directory, and then the adapt interface. You can see that we have it at this section. That is the directory integration. When we talk about this directory, we are talking about a server, a kind of a system where information about a user is stored. We have it in all companies, in all organizations. They do have this kind of a server where they store the information. Now, the other question which we are talking about, which is the Salesforce, that one is the application integration. So the application integration is completely different. So the question will now be, what are you integrating within the application? We basically have a three forms of integration that we do when it comes to application. We have the everything that we are doing when it comes to integration has to do with a single sign-on, and then we basically have two sets of process or methods that we do the integration. We have the SAML 2.0, and then we have the OIDC. We have the OIDC. So those are the two processes that we do the integration within for application. So now the question you're asking is, am I going to be working in the Salesforce? Yes. Am I going to be working in informatics? Yes. Am I going to be working? Yes, because when you are doing this integration, there are some certain files that are generated, and then that you have to kind of, most especially the certificate, or we call there is something that we call it metadata. Let me just explain this for the benefit of us to kind of have this idea of what we are talking about. There is something that we call a metadata. Metadata is a file that's that contains information about a system or about something or about application. They call it a metadata. So these metadata are generated, and once you have that metadata generated, along with that, you will find what we call the certificate. That certificate is actually what is making a confirmation of trust between two systems. That is what that certificate actually stands for. So this certificate that you have that's going to be generated in Okta, you will take that certificate and then push it into the on the application side. So where that certificate is going to be, where you are going to store it, how it's going to be stored, you need to have an understanding of it. So you need to know how to do that for a particular application, either Salesforce, either Google, whatever the application that you want to integrate, you need to have an understanding. The question now will now be, oh, I'm working with Okta, and I'm going to work with all these other applications, Salesforce, Google, every other one, Microsoft 365, this and this and that. So how am I going to learn all this? Well, the point is that we still have to talk about the system integration protocols, because what you find in Salesforce, the process and method you find in Salesforce is what you're going to find in Google as well too, is you're going to find in other applications. The concept is always the same. They might have it in different stages or maybe write it in different form, but the concept is always the same. You will surely find the concept to be the same thing, and then you will be able to kind of understand what you are doing. This is why it is so important that we really have to kind of know what concept is, and then based on that concept, we can then use it to understand different features and different proprietary application developed by different organizations. We will learn about that in this class. We will learn about a single sign-on. We'll learn about what are the elements of the single sign-on, and then we'll learn about how we can do the integration between the Okta and then the other any applications that we want to integrate. Another thing that I want to kind of let us know is that the application and the subject provider, they want everybody to be able to use the application as simple as possible. They want the administrator to be able to integrate with the application as simple as possible. Whatever that you are going to do on the application side, you will surely find a guidelines of how to do it. They will show you the steps that you are going to take. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Get this from Okta, push it into this, you'll be able to, they will surely give you all this information. It's not that you're going to be blank in what you want to do. No, you will always have a direction of how to do it and what to do. I'm going to give an instance of what I'm talking about right here. So we have an application here. I have some application which I've already set up. We are going to make use of this, the solution tab. If I click on this, I'm going to show something really quickly here. This is the sign-on. What do we see here? We see view SAML setup instructions. Okta believe that, oh, if you want to use my Okta system, you should be able to know how to do SAML and this and it. But despite the fact that they know that, they will still provide you an information on how to go about a particular integration. So if I click on this right here, this is my setup. So these are the steps I'm going to take to do a SAML integration when it comes to Salesforce. So it is for me to have an idea of what I want to do and to know the concept of the single sign-on. And based on my knowledge of a single sign-on and then maybe some knowledge of a SAML, I can easily come in and start reading through this. And then follow the instructions that they give, and they do the integrations. So this is, like I said, the software provider, they ensure that they're going to provide a guide that will lead us to do whatever that we want to do. So this is an example of such. So you can say right here, they will even give you a definition of what to do and the identity provider, the information that you need from one system to another system, and they will even give you how to generate the certificate. You can see right here. We will still talk about all this, and then we'll look through all these when we're doing the session on the single sign-up. So I'm just trying to kind of let you know that you will surely be provided with adequate information on what you want to do and how to go about it. There is another one which I want to show just for the benefit of giving us an idea. We can also say that I have a different integration right here. This is an informatic. The informatic have their own process of integration as well too. So they will provide you the information on how to do that. And I have the autonomous, the SmartCom. If I come online, because let me tell everybody this: Google is your friend when you are dealing with when you're working on a project. You are not expected to know everything perfectly, but you have to do a research. There is always a new application that will come up, and you have to find out how the integration is done. So, for instance, the smart card right here, if I click on smart card somewhere, so we can say that once we make a search within the Google, and then you can go down to the website, and then they're going to provide you with information. But this is a smart IQ though. They're going to provide you with information on how to do the setup. And they will even provide you some information about what a single sign-on is, just to kind of give you an idea of what you are doing. And this is a very good site to kind of learn about single sign-on. So despite the fact that they are going to tell you how their system is set up, how to integrate single sign-on with their system, they will still give you an idea of what a single sign-on is. They will teach you. So, what we are saying in a sense is that there is always an information for you to make yourself when you are doing the integration. You can see the screenshot that they have right here. That is a screenshot of how the integration is done actually within the system. So how you are going to make a selection of the sample, they will give you the path and everything. They will actually give you an adequate information that will allow you to perform the integration. So does that answer your question, Mr. Shea?
Yes, thank you.
So any other question? Because this is very interesting. I think I have Mr. Lawal raising his hand. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. I just want to find out if Okta is similar to all the other cloud solutions for identity. I know that Microsoft is based on subscription. Is Okta also based on subscription? If I intend to get customers or any of the existing application to use Okta as an identity solution, is it going to be a subscription once this is configured for the application or integrated with the application?
I wish I'm a partner with Okta so that I can provide you with all those information, and that will surely make me much more money than doing this training.
Okay.
But
okay. I just want to have an idea. Is it cheaper than the Microsoft identity, Azure identity? Because they subscribe, they normally charge for this user creation for all these Azure identities that you have on their platform.
The point is, I'm not sure, but if I'm in my Microsoft, I will want to kind of provide some certain features free for my customers so that I can kind of shift their mind from um, from a company like Okta, because they will want to kind of make sure that they want to kind of maximize their asset. What I mean by asset is the company that they are working with. That their customers, exactly. Their customers is their asset. So they want to kind of maximize their asset. So, and the way to do that is to make sure that whatever the penny that they can get from you, they will get it. Even if they have to give out some features for free. That is where the issue of antitrust come into play. That is where in US government they are saying like they have to pay some certain company down into pieces because it's because of the antitrust. Because most of these companies, the big companies, they are trying to kind of control the market and ensure that they dominate the market. And in doing so, they will want to make sure that they provide what other small companies is going to charge higher for. They will make sure that they charge a lower amount of money for it. However, as an organization, the best practice that they mostly do is they don't want to put all their basket in one egg. So they prefer to kind of work with um, an organization that is specialized in that area, that their main market is the area of universal direct cloud-based identity service provider. So they will want to kind of deal with that organization rather than dealing with Microsoft. But if you want to go cheaper and easy, then they will go with the Microsoft. But if they want to kind of really be professional in their business, they will want to go with those that are actually doing that particular specialists in that field, which is Okta. That is their base market. That is what they do, and they know it very well. And if we check the they said something like a Quant grant or something like that. If we check it, the Okta is the leading provider of the cloud-based identity provider. Okta is the leading solution provider in that area. So we don't even have Azure. Azure is not even close to Okta. So, well, if you, I might probably have to kind of get in touch with Okta. If I can get a custodian, then I can provide you with additional information on that.
Thank you so much, because I know Microsoft, they have categories of profiling. They have the P1, P2, and the free. Once you start using some certain features on your identity, they will charge for it. For the P1, P2, they charge. Like, for example, if you are creating dynamic groups, so if you have a dynamic group, certainly Microsoft will charge you for that. So they charge for the identity. But Microsoft has a way of billing their customers, and if you have an enterprise, if you do enterprise with them, certainly they will charge you. Maybe it might not be so much, but they do charge. Thank you.
Yeah, good for that information. It's their marketing strategy. They really want to make sure that they keep their asset, which is their customers, to themselves only in all aspects of the needs that they want, as far as information is concerned. So they really want to keep. If it is possible for them to go into the hardware section, which they are moving into right now, they will do so and try to kind of dominate that area as well too. So yeah, that is a big company for you there. Any other question, please? So I think we can move forward. Well, we are almost at 8 o'clock already. So So we add then, like I said, we have three main areas that we'll be focusing on the directory section, the applications, and then the security. So we can, this is self-explanatory, the customization section and all the stuff, we can look into that later on, but it's not all that important. So then we'll come down to the people. We can say that within the directory section, we have the people, we have the groups, then we have the profile editor and other features like this. So the people is a section whereby you create a user. I believe by now, every one of us must have created a user. Is that the case? The the Yelp mail account. Do we have the Yelp mail account created already by all?
Mine's done.
All right, okay, cool. So as I was saying, the unique identifier within an organization is mostly the email address. So that is why we're going to use our email address to be we're going to use this to be our username. So in Okta, we have it several ways of having a user within the system, whereby the user can come into the Okta system. We can do a manual creation of user. We can do integration seek from the application into the Okta system. We can also do the directory integration, which is this one that we have right here, that we're going to pull all the users within the directory into the Okta system. We can do a sync process of that as well too. And then we can do a file load, upload of files. The one I did yesterday, which we're going to have a list of users and we're going to populate them into the system at once. That is the mass creation of users. So those are the various ways whereby we can create users in Okta. So what we are going to work on today is going to be a manual creations. So I'm going to click on this by clicking on the hard button. Then I provide the first name. I'd probably say as user S, and that's 300. And I'm using the last name of CWM. By the way, CWM means Crescent Web Mat. So that's the name of the company, please. Then my username is going to be the email address which I created. So you can see the primary email as well to create it. So we should note that this primary email is one of the most important email information that we need to have in Okta, because that is where all the information that Okta is going to generate on behalf of the user that will be sent to. So we have to be careful about this primary email. So in an organization, their primary email is always their username and the email that's provided to them by the organization. So it's always their primary email. Then at the same time, there is a secondary email, which is not showing right here, but it's going to be showing in the full profile section of the user. We're going to have the primary, the secondary email there. But this is just for us to kind of create what we call the credentials of probably the user account within the system. So the group is another thing that we can actually provide right here. So once if there is a group I've already created within an Okta, and I've already assigned some certain functions to that group, once I had a group right here, and then I create the user along with the group, so I won't need to kind of assign any functions to the user any longer. By default of putting the group right here, the user is going to automatically inherit the functions within that particular group. So we can provide a group right here too. Then here is a point whereby we have the option of how the password is going to be generated, set by a user or set by the admin. If I want to create an account for myself, I want to kind of create it just like password for the user. I can easily create a password right here. And then once I create a password, then I will just provide it to the user. There's no need for me to, there's no need to be sending the password asking the user to reset the password by sending an email to them. I can easily provide the password to the user if it is very, very urgent, or if the email email is not available, it's not accessible. I can easily create the password right here. So this another one, send user activation email now. So which is most especially is selected. That is the activation that will be sent into this the primary email that we have right here. So now if I click on save, then that user is going to be created within the system. We can see that we don't see the user right here. This is one thing that we need to be aware of. We don't want to kind of be in a shock, like, oh, I just created a user and I cannot find the user in the system. Where's the user? Where's the user? In most cases, the user created in Okta or any change that you make in Okta doesn't reflect automatically by just by looking at the screen. Or you may probably have to refresh the screen, and by that you can see the information. So if I refresh the screen right here, click on refresh, then we can see that I have my user right here. That is the test 300 CWM. And then the other thing that is important for us to note when we are creating a user is the status of the user. We can see that this status of user is saying that pending user action. It doesn't say the pending administrator action, it says the pending user action. That means the user that you are creating has to do something for the process of the account creation to move forward. Coming to that, if you look at the more action right here, these are the other things that we can do as far as the user is concerned. We can activate the user, deactivate, and expire password, unlock. We're still gonna look at all this feature later on. So the next step, we have the user created. We have the user created. The next step will now be, okay, you have to create an email and send it. You send that email to the user, or you notify the user that an account has been created in the system for you. Please check your email and then follow the instruction that you have there. So I'll have to come down here and I get onto the Yelp mail. So here's my
Mr.
Yelp.
Razaki,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. That process that you are doing now, shouldn't it be automated? Like once you've done that, shouldn't the system just send the user an automatical email to complete the steps, or we have to be the one to go initiate that step for them to go and complete, to verify and have access to the email that you've created to them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
This next step, is it manual or is it automated? Do we have to manually go in and send them an email to inform them to go and complete the step?
Okay. First of all, if you follow what we did the other time, you will notice that there is a section that says generate an email and send an email to the user. So the Okta is going to generate an activation email to the user, and then it will send that emails into the user inbox. But as we know, many of the end users might not be aware that an information has been sent to them, or they might not be aware that they have to check their email for the activation. So for them to be notified, for them to know this, you have to let them know, either by calling them, or maybe by sending emails to them, or maybe by ringing them or telling them, oh, you should check your inbox. There's an email there that you have to check. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm not gonna send any emails. So I'm just saying that people there should be a way to identify the end user. there should be a way to notify the end user on how to for them to be aware that the email has been generated. In some of the system, we have an alert. For instance, my system right here, I purposely said I probably turn off the alert on this system. I purposely turn off the alert because of this class that I'm doing right now. Sometimes when you send an email to a user, the alert will come up and show that, oh, you have an new email in your inbox, then check it up and then do what you have to do to proceed with it. But in some cases, the user might not be aware that they have that email in the inbox. And that is why I said that we have to notify them, we have to call them, or we have to let them know, or we have to let their managers know that we've already sent activation email into their inbox. The emails for them to do what they have to do to activate their account in Okta will be generated automatically by the Okta system. So we don't need to do anything with that respect. It's an automatic process. So that is what I want to show you right now. It's not like I'm going to send an email to myself. If I look at this, the account which I created, which I set up the account for in Okta, I just have to check the inbox, and then I'm kind of working as an end user right now. Let's assume I'm an end user, user 300. So I will come into my inbox and then check what is there. So here I am. The email is there already. So you can see the time that the email was generated. That is 7:52, my time right here. And if I look at the time right here, it's at 7:58, which is about 6 minutes or 5 minutes away that the email was generated. And then there is the email right here. So this is the activation email from Okta. So telling the end user, okay, you'll be set up by your admin to have an access in Okta, and then you need to complete the process of the account creation by providing by following the instruction provided here. So what the end user is going to do is to kind of read through the information, which is important. You can't just say that, oh, I said an Okta, then you click on it. No. Let's read through the information, know very well what the instruction says, and then click on here. So the first thing that comes up is for me to create my password, and then which I'm going to do. So that is how I reset my password, and automatically it brings me down to my dashboard. That is my end user dashboard, allowing me to access the system directly. So here I am right here as test 300. Okay, this is how you create a user in Okta. As it is right here now, I'm an end user. I am not an Okta admin. Okta admin is completely different from me at this point in time. I'm a test user 300. I don't have anything to do with the admin at this point in time. I don't even have access to the admin. So this is where I am. So once I come to this page, I'm going to see all my apps right here that assigned to me. And if I haven't been assigned to any apps, I can make a request for the assignment of the app. So here is my end user dashboard, and this is where I'm going to be doing the accessing all the applications assigned to me. We should note something right here, that there is something like an admin right here. I won't be able to have access to the admin screen. I won't be able to have access to what the administrator can do, because I'm just an ordinary end user. I'm nothing more, nothing less. So that's
And then,
it.
Mr. Razak,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you are creating the end user information, you created a password for that end user, and as a user, you created another password. Does that mean that you, as an administrator, you created a password for the end user? So can you still control the end user from your end, or is it a different thing you were doing?
Please, let us get this clarification very well. I, as an administrator, I create the user within the account, and once I create a user in the account, I have the ability to create a password for the user as I'm creating the account in the system. Then I will now provide a password to the end user for a change, to make a change of it. Log in with this password, and once you log in with it, then you can have a change of it. I have that ability to do that. Probably we will have to do that process as well and see how it flows. I have the ability to do that. And then provide a password to the end user for the end user to make a change of. Then likewise, I can create an account in the system without creation of the password. But I'm going to send an email to the end user for the end user to activate the account and then create a password on their own. So what I've just done in this class just now is I created a user in the system, and then the Okta system generated an email to the user for the user to create, to activate the account and then to create the password. When I went into the Yelp mail, I went into that Yelp mail as an end user, entirely a complete different person entirely from an admin user, which I was. It's like giving you the access to activate the account. So for instance, this is what I should have done. I should have probably asked one of the trainees to access that particular Yelp mail and then activate the account. So that will kind of give us a clarity there that, okay, oh, this is something that that has to go to the end user, and then the end user has to activate it. Please keep in mind the emails which I use, or which the information about the activation is sent to, is not accessible to me. If I'm actually sending it to an end user, as an admin, I don't have access to that email. So it is only the end user that will have access to their email. And then once they receive the activation email within their inbox, they can then proceed with the account creation, password creation. I, as an administrator, I won't have access to it. So I think you should have that clarifications that end users have the control over their password. They can change their password. But I, as an admin, as well too, I have the authority to change the password within the Okta. But we are all being watched by the log created within on that particular account within Okta. So there is not there's nothing hidden there. The log is going to reflect who and who does what within the Okta system. So I hope I can kind of clarify your question. As an
Yeah,
as an administrator, you have the power to create a password for a user and then provide that password to the user, and then for the user to make a change of it. So once the user change that password, I won't have access to that password. I won't know what the user password is unless I go into the system again and then make a change to the password myself. So that is the only way. So I won't know what the password the user created. So does that clear your question, please, Mr. Shakiro?
yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Mr. Lawal, can you please hold on? Let me call Mr. Aderibibe for his question. Please go ahead, Mr. Aderibibe.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I've created my Yelp mail, but I don't know if I can, just give you my Yelp mail so you can use that as an example to add me to the Okta.
The YOPME that you created is what you are going to use as test. Okay, you can give me provide it within the chat, then we can use that, and then you will go ahead and then do that. Okay, let's see. That's good. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah, I just add number 9. That's mine.
Send it within the chat, please. The YOPME that you created. Can you send it within the chat?
Yeah, let me try it.
Okay, good. So this is a perfect example that we're trying to kind of create a new user in the system. Like I said, we come down to the directory section right here. We click on the people, and it brings us to the end user creation page right here. And then we click on add person. So once we click on add person, let's assume I made it so the test user. Test user 9. CWM. And the username is going to be the email account, because we want it to be unique. And then the primary email is going to be this. Then please note, Mr. Shakiro and then Mr. Shei, this is where I actually indicate for Okta to send an email to the end user. So once I select this, send user activation emails now. So this is going to be sent out to the end user. And then you can see that I have the two options right here when it comes to the password. I have a set by user and set by admin. So which implies that I can set the password of the user by myself and then provide that particular password to the user. Or I can allow the user to set up the password by themselves, and then I'm going to send an email to them for them to do the activation. So once I click on save right now, we see that we don't say the user right here. Like I noted earlier on, the Okta is going to take you to refresh the screen for you to see the new user created. And then once I click on refresh, then we can see the user right here. Actually, I have to put, okay, we can see the user test user CWM test user 9. So the action that we have there is a pending user action. So Mr. Aderebege can now go into his email and then look at the inbox. And then once he check the inbox, it's going to find the message there for him to activate. Mr. Aderebege, please go ahead and do that.
All right.
Just let us know when you completed, when you see the Okta screen. So let us know.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Okta screen.
Okay, so one thing I want to share right here is that you can also say that there's a test user CWM pending user action. This startup is going to change once I refresh the screen right here. So we now say that the user is active right here. So that's to tell us that the user already activated that particular account and then is in the system. So if I go down, you can see we have so many active. All this that we have right here, the pending user action, it shows that the user that's supposed to have checking their inbox for them to kind of activate their account, they are yet to do that. So, and then again, we can go into the log. The report under the report. Hold on 1 second. The system logs. So if we look at the system log right here, we're going to see the track of activities that we've been doing so far. Who does what, who does this, we're going to find it here. So these are the logs of the activities that we just did, that we did. Let me see this one. I want to see if I can sort them out. This is the test user that was done by the Mr. DDB, if I'm not wrong. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I believe this is the log of Mr. Adebibe access. If you look at here right now, I can say Chrome, Android, mobile, mobile 69 from 69. That is the IP address. This is one thing, because there's nothing you can do in Okta that's not going to be tracked. If you try to kind of access the Okta system and then you are successful to access the Okta system, it will surely show all your information, your IP address, your ID, some other information as well, to where you are coming from, and it's going to show you. So I'm going to, these are all some other information. Yeah, I will probably look into this to provide a very good guidelines on how to kind of make use of the log. But when you come down to the log is going to show you who and who does what within the system. You can see the details information that we have here. Is Mr. Adegibe in Louisiana?
Yes,
Oh,
that's me.
that is
I've
what is
seen,
confusing. That's what is
yeah, I've
confusing.
seen
Yeah,
it.
I was wondering, is this me or not? So this
Yeah,
is
that's
Mr.
my location.
Yeah, this is Mr. Adegibe right now. If you want to know where he's staying, where he's living, I can actually track him down with all this. So anyway, I was a little bit confused. Am I looking at my own information or looking at somebody else's information? So
Yeah,
when I,
yeah, I've seen everything. Like, I'm kind of convinced, like, because that's my location, that's my everything.
all right, okay. So that is the log for you within the Okta. That is why the Okta is so secure. Like even if there is any kind of an infraction or somebody coming into the system, then we can also always track it, and then you can see where the whatever the incident is coming from. So that said, I think we have to kind of wrap up the class with this. I am going to assign a user and going to assign a group to the user that will allow us to be able to create a user in the system by ourselves. Before the end of today, I'm going to do that assignment, and then we should be able to create a user by ourselves, and then have a trial of it before the next class. So that is the demonstration of how we can create a user in Okta, then how we can check the log, and how we can activate the users, uh, and then I think we go through different features within the Okta. We talk about the role, and then we talk about the three main functions that we're going to be dealing with. We talk extensively on the Active Directory, and then we talk about application integration as well. So, and then we emphasize that information will always be provided to us whenever we are doing the work within the Okta. So that's it. Do we have any other question? Oh, I think Mr. Malawa was raising his hand the other time. So please, Mr. Malawa, please go ahead.
Sorry, I was just trying to give a comment.
Okay.
Regarding the Active Directory, especially, most of us that are working in organization, when we are created, oftentimes will be advised our password. So once we are given a default password, it is expected of us to quickly, change the password when we are logging into the NT. And I think it's using NT LMS or Cabros to enable us to change the password, because if you're going to log on to your PC on the domain, it will prompt you to change the password at the first time based on the password you must have been advised. But in this case, I realize that this is even a better solution in the sense that you are not being given. It's you that will, kind of get a mail that will advise you to automatically activate your account, whereby you just enter new set of password and you can manage your account by yourself, directly or indirectly. But the question I also want to ask, apart from the comment I've just made, has to do with where the admin impute the primary email. Can any other email account be used aside from the one we are using for this demo? I'm talking about if I have a personal email account and I want to use that personal, I want to get the mail for the activation through that personal email account. I don't know if
yes, sure. You can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's make it better.
Okay. Yeah, because we are in an open environment here, that is what I kind of say, okay, people should probably use the disposable email to receive the information. But if you want to use your, so far that you know that, okay, putting your emails out there is not really a concern, then you can use it. So yeah, the email can be changed, so you can use it. So any other question, please? Is there anything that anybody wants to kind of ask along as in the process of the creation, or anything that is not clear that we can talk about, that we can discuss? Yeah, I'm going to send a message out between today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, that
Hello, Mr. Razak.
Yes, I'm listening, Mr. Shakir.
Yeah, can you please try to shed a little bit light on difference between identity and access management and privilege access management? Thank you.
Difference between identity, access management, and the privilege management. Let me start with the identity. They call it digital identity. Digital identity is the information about a person or an object within an organization. So every one of us has a unique information within the system. And everything started with the HRM system. When you are coming into an organization, they call the process an onboarding. So when you are doing an onboarding, they will first of all add you to the HRM, human resources system, that is the HR system. your information. They will collect your data, username, first name, and last name, your place of birth, your location, your address. All those bio data will be collected when they are doing an onboarding. Along with that, there's some other stuff that they will do. There's another stuff that they will do. They will actually probably have some document to sign, some account to be created for you, bank information, and all those stuff, depending on how the organization starts. So there are so many things that take place when it comes to the onboarding. But after that onboarding process, within the HRM system, all your information are there. So that information will be the true source that is going to be synced into the Okta. That becomes your identity for that within the organization. Then along with it, probably they will give you an ID. That is the um, employee ID. So they are probably give you an employee ID. So that's going to be your, and that's what we refer to as an identity within an organization. So part of that information that normally collected during the onboarding process is what we're going to use within the Okta. There's always an integration between HR system and then the Okta system. So the Okta system is going to pull all the basic information that is needed within the Okta system and then push it into the Okta Universal directly. And those information is going to be used later on to create your account in all the applications that is going to be assigned to you in the organization.
I think Mr. Razak is not online right now.
I think it might probably maybe like yesterday when they have like a electricity interruption. It might be the same thing.
Yeah, I had a little disruption in the power. So can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So as I was talking about the identity. So that is a digital identity that you have within an organization, and that information is going to be pulled from the HR system, either from the HR system or from the AD system that is integrated with the Okta. That particular identity information is going to be pulled into the Okta system. It's not going to be used. It will not be used all across the application that is going to be assigned to you. Yeah, you talk about the privilege or less privilege. Um, the less privilege, principle of less privilege is a concept that is that is mainly used when it comes to provisioning to users. It implies that it is what you're supposed to what you need is what is assigned to you at the minimum. It is the minimum of what you need that's going to be assigned to you, nothing more, nothing less, just specific of what you require in the system that's going to be assigned to you. That is the principle of this privilege. So privilege, what we are talking about is it depends on how you look at it. From the application perspective, it has to do with what are the features, what are the functions that you can do within the application. In terms of the network, what are the assets that you have? What system that you can have an access to? Where you can go? What is a system that you can, the network that you can communicate with that your computer can communicate with. So that is talking about the privilege. It depends on in what perspective you are looking at it. So, but in our own perspective, when it comes to this privilege, we are talking about it. Uh, the functions that a user can perform within an application. And then what the least privilege principle is saying that you should only assign the needed function for the user to do within an application. Only, nothing more, nothing less, just what the user needs to do within the application that you have to assign to the user. So that is what the principle of least privilege is talking about. Now this is a very good question because it kind of talks about the essence of what we are doing and the essence of having the Okta. We've talked about the identity. So when you have an identity, you are saying that this is uh, who I am within the system, within the application. Then we now talk about, okay, even if you are a person in the application, what can you do? How can you perform? What can you do within the application? That is where the least privilege comes into play. And I think, and the last one has to do with the access management. Uh, when you combine the identity and then the least privilege together, that's what we call the access management.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the access management, that is the how you now control, you secure, you control the identity, you secure, you control, and you ensure that you have the least privilege principles and being carried out or being implemented. And that one is done by the mostly in application. It is done by the two other features like a rollback, RBAC, that is a role-based access control, and then we talk about the SOD, segregation of access. We have what kind of segregation of access, which is going to, which implies that you don't want to assign all the powers to just only one person. In a system, in an application system, we have what we call the requesters. We have the approver. You don't want an requester to be the same person as an approver. So you want to kind of segregate their function within the system, and they call it SOD. I can't recall what that D implies, but I know the segregation of function. That's what you have. So you kind of ensure that you don't give all the powers to just one individual within the application. So you have to separate the functions. And how you do that separation of the function is by using a role. So within a particular role, you can say this is a requester role, and this is an approval role. So within the requester role, the requester role will be able to input the request, talk about the username, first name and last name and other stuff. And maybe you are requesting an item, the requester will have to put the item that is going to be requested, maybe the number of them, and then that request information will now flow into the approval stage. At the approval stage, then you now have the approval role. That user is an approver that can actually access the system and then review what the requester is requesting, and is going to make a comment if it is okay and if it is not, and then before approving it, and should not approve it. So once it approve it, then perhaps there might be a downline person that is going to kind of act on that approval. So the essence is that within an application flow, you don't assign all the roles, you don't assign all the functions to just one single person. You have to segregate the function within the application. So that is where you are talking about the how you can implement the least privilege within an application, the principle of least privilege within an application. That is an application level. We have it in the system administrator as well too. They can actually do a control of that nature within the system admin as well too. So what you just asked about, talk about the identity, the principle of least privilege, and then the access management. They are actually the core of the essence of having the access control, the Okta that we are doing right here. So thank you for that question. Any other question, please? By the way, D in the SOD implies duty, segregation of duty. So any other question, please? So so if there is no question, can we say we can call it a day? Or is there anything that anybody wants us to kind of touch on before we round up today? Or we have too much of information provided today? Because I think we really wanted to make this to be a brief one, but I think even we've gone beyond our normal time. Mr. Mayowa, any question?
I just want to make a suggestion, Mr. Razak.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can go ahead. I don't know if there is a kind of a course outline for this program such that we'll know, we'll be able to track what we are doing such that we'll know how far we have gone through this course and when it will end, and just to put the timeline to it. And apart from that, for some of us that want to take the certification the open certification that you advise us, so that we can really know how we can work towards that with the time limit.
All right. I think I have to share my screen again. We have the timeline that we have the guidelines of what we have to do. Hold on 1 second, please. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. So at the beginning of the class, I show these guidelines of what we're going to do, the class overview. And then we said that we're going to start with the identity and access management, which is what we talk about in the first class. And then in the next class, we are actually supposed to be dealing with the user lifecycle management, which kind of, in the course of our training today, we've actually talks about all that I have here. Because initially I wasn't planning to have this as the main class, but along the line, it seems like it ended up being the main class for us. So I'll talk about the user onboarding, the provisioning. You can see that I have a principle of this privilege right there. Then I have a need to know, which actually what was asked in the class just now, which I just explained. Then talk about the account creation. I'll talk about the manual way of creating account, the CSV, command separated value. This is it.
Well, sir,
Uh,
both in the
then we have the import from the application, which I may mention of. So we can actually go in details in on each of these items, the list that we have here. So so this is the second kind of a stage that I mean the next thing that we basically talk about this today. You can say I have right directory, the DAP, the Microsoft Active Directory, the Okta Universal Directory, profile management in Okta. We haven't seen the profile management in Okta, which we are going to touch on in the next class. And you can see the role assignment, which I just kind of briefly talk about just now, which is RBAC, role-based access control, and SOD, segregation of duty. So this is the guidelines of what we need to do. Whatever that we discuss in the class is actually what we already plan on doing. But the way I handled this class today, was kind of thinking that we're going to work on the practical aspect only without talking about the concept. But along the line, we talk about the concept, and then we touch on so many of the stuff right here. So after finishing this section, then we now move down to the authentication. So this is where we're going to talk about the password, talk about the policies, talk about the MFA, talk about the rules, talk about the sign-on rules. There are a lot of things that we have to talk about here. That is the authentication section. Then after the authentication, then we now move down to the federated identity. So this is where we are going to talk about this SAML, OIDC, scheme, all the stuff that has to do with the application integrations, how we integrate application within the system, within Okta system, and what are the process of doing that, the use of the single sign-on. So that is a federated identity right there. Then after that, then we now move down to the Okta certified exams, how we want to prepare for the exams. That is where we're going to actually talk about the examination that we want to do. So, so far, what we've been doing, it has to do, I mean, whatever that we are doing so far is in line with what we project to learn in the class. So it's only that I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
show,
Mr.
it's only that I didn't show this earlier in the day because I was thinking that we're going to just talk about the practical. So that was it.
I have a question, sir. Will you be sharing this syllabus with us?
Yeah, sure. Everybody should be able to have this, and I will send it into the
The group chat?
to the group chat. What I wanted to do this, I want to kind of make it to be in form of a note. On a good day, I'm supposed to kind of use that on board, maybe write something right there, of it, for us to kind of be able to remember and read. and after the class. So I want to kind of make a kind of a note, but I can do that. So yeah, I will share this in the class, and everybody will be able to have it. So in the chat, in the group chat. So any other question? Thank you. So the way I have to okay, yeah. If there's no any questions, so I think we can call it a day, and then prepare ourselves uh, for the assignment that I will be asking us to do in the group chat. I will ask us to create an account by ourselves, and then with the assets that we have right now, we can explore the Okta and then try to see how the what the features that we have there, creation of an account, and then some other application integrations, so we can explore the interface and see what we have there. So all right, thank you all. I appreciate everyone being in the class today. Thank you all. Um, to all the
Thank
father,
you. Thank you.
to all the fathers in the class, happy Father's Day to you all, and then to all the ladies that are supporting them. Thank you so much.
I do carry. I do carry.
Thank you very much, sir.